Hi, everyone. It is Saturday. Welcome to our investor seminar. You watched us last week. We did our first time home buyer one. This is our first time investor one. So if you're looking to buy an investment property and take advantage of these low rates, you came to the right spot. My name is Vinnie, my co-host over here.
David Wright, thank you guys for joining us on this marvelous weather of Saturday morning that we got here in beautiful San Diego. I mean, this is getting better than this. We're in November, almost midway, and look how gorgeous the weather is today.
Yes. You want to take it away from the start?
Let's take it away. So for those of you that already own a home, you're watching our different updates, you're watching our market updates, our first-time homebuyer seminars. These are things you already know, so please forgive us for going over it, but these are things you really want to think about. So you already own a home. You already knew what it took to get it. You knew the process. You know all the procedures. And now you're looking at investment properties. So is your job steady? Your income comes in each month? Do you have a retirement plan? Are you saving? You have a current home. Your house is already appreciating value. For those of you who do not realize how much homes appreciate here in San Diego, it's 3 to 5%, but is that always guaranteed, Vinny? Nope. So then you're looking at, will owning your home and having a 401k and saving your money, will this create wealth? No, it won't. You got to diversify your assets. That's why real estate is so good, because it enables you to be able to diversify and have multiple other ways of gaining income through investment properties.
Yeah. Let's take this next one. All right, how do investment properties build wealth? Monthly cash flow. Rental properties create cash flow monthly. Rental properties have the ability to increase cash flow by rent increases. Average San Diego rent is $1,800 to about $2,700. Average yearly San Diego rent increases 4.1%, and bad times 2.7%. Future appreciation. Now, this is something that David's already kind of jumped on, is the idea that we've seen yearly appreciation about 5%. Yet in this current climate, I mean, to be as transparent as possible, don't buy a property today that you're hoping that's going to be worth, 20, 10, whatever it is in a year, 2 years from now. I mean, we're definitely coming closer to the top end of the market than we are to the bottom end of the market, because of rates, low inventory, and things like that. So if you're buying today, focus on that monthly payment. Focus on something that you can comfortably afford, and maybe the rent takes care of it and things like that. Or, if you're looking for future appreciation, you're going to keep this property for the next 15 years, 20 years, whatever it might be. The market goes up, goes down, but what does it do? It goes back up.
Strange phenomena, right, Vinny? It's an interesting cycle. And for those of you who don't realize, San Diego usually uses 10-year cycles of appreciation, and we're on year 12 with no recession yet or pullback in value.
Yeah, so if you watch our market updates, please, if you're not watching it, subscribe to our market updates. You'll see how much shorter the inventory we have currently in San Diego County, based off the detached market under 700,000 is probably one of the most hit markets, and that's about a week and a half worth of inventory. In a balanced market, you want 6 months. So it gives you just kind of a brief insight into the market. What you can do too, the guidelines have been freed up for granny flats and ADUs and properties like that. So maybe refinance your property, take money out, and then building maybe a rental property on your property. So things to think about. See how you can take advantage of the market. And then tax write-offs. Rental properties are tax deductible. Improvements to properties can be written off. You can depreciate the property for more write-offs. Tax insurance, mortgage insurance, all written off as maintenance. So talk to your CPA and see what's possible. Give us a call first. We can kind of walk you through maybe what's possible there, and then take it to the next step with your CPA.
Because what are we, Vinny?
Not CPAs.
That's right.
All right, you want to take this one right here?
Let's do this. So, you start looking at everything. How do you get started? Well, you need money. Just like anything, unfortunately, that old saying is you need money to make money. Unfortunately, that's kind of true, especially in real estate, because if you have no money, you cannot buy the property. So how do you get that money? Well, you can save all your money, save as much as you possibly can, which we know is hard right now in the current times, especially with all the uncertainties with jobs. So you can pull cash out of your current home, cash out refinance. For those of you who don't realize this, rates are the lowest in history. They are low, 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 super low. You can also pull from your investments accounts, our bank savings. For those of you who are more savvy, you can actually do an IRA with a real estate account to buy an investment property through your IRA, which is very savvy. Or you can pool money with others as investors and leverage your money and buy a property with maybe 2 or 3 of your friends and limit the amount of money you put down. And then basically, let's say 3 of you going on a property, each one of you puts in a smaller amount. Now you buy a property, you split the equity, you split the cash flow, and you split the tax write-offs. So there's a lot of things to think about getting started in this game, but you just got to make sure you have the right plan. Or pull a HELOC on your current property. Now, this is interesting because I get a lot of people calling me now about HELOCs. Oh, I want a HELOC. I want a HELOC. The problem is it's cheaper to have a 30-year fixed than the rates on HELOCs. Some banks are offering 2% HELOCs. Just remember, that is variable. It will not stay that way. When the market shifts, which is probably not going to be for 2 to 3 years, and you see rates start moving up, those HELOCs go up very quickly. So keep that in mind, people.
Yeah, maybe it might be quicker than that, but we'll see. Then the pool money with investors to leverage. All right. Now, I know David's already gone over it, and I'm repeating him. Just something to think about when you're pooling money with other investors. When money's involved, things get crazy. So make sure you have a contract in place. You have a good understanding of the process. I mean, maybe not for the front part of it, of buying the property, but later on in the process. I'm telling you, I've seen families, friends fight over money to where you're just like, what just happened right there? So just be aware, if you are going to pull money with other investors, make sure you have a really good contract. And if you need a good attorney to help you out with that, feel free to reach out to myself or David. We'd love to be that resource for you.
Also, we are not attorneys.
Exactly. Cash is king, but cash flow is magic.
Magic. That's where the magic happens, when the cash comes in. This slide right here, this is very interesting. So for those of you out there and you're looking at it, you're going, man, what's the average value in San Diego? Well, I hate to break the news to you. The value is expensive. Why? Look at the geographic location that San Diego has. We have perfect weather. Plus, we have the ocean on one side of us, the desert on the other side. And so you have this small pocket of where things can be built, made, and you can live. That's what makes San Diego so unique, is we can't keep spreading out and out and out because we are boxed in. And also, for those of you, if you don't notice, they're not building a lot of housing here in San Diego, probably because there's a lot of red tape and it takes forever. And we also have a shortage of supplies for building right now as well. So the home values here, will it go up forever? Well, not consistently, but it does appreciate. And even when we dip, go look at the history of San Diego, we come back up.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the stock market. If you play stocks or invest in stocks, it doesn't matter what the value is. It matters only when you sell it or when you refi with a property, with a real estate. So just understand that. Again, the values go up, they go down. I mean, we're due for some kind of decline in the market, yet we're getting pushed up again by interest rates and low inventory. What's most important to you about investment properties is the monthly cash flow. Do you want the highest monthly cash flow? Do you want the ability to be able to increase rents yearly? Or are you just getting in with the first property and then later plan to cash flow because of the rent increases? This is a yearly appreciation. Do you want to buy in the area that has the greatest yearly appreciation for possibly 3-year sale to leverage? No, that's very, I mean, maybe an area. This is a word that David loves.
I know.
Gentrifying. All right. Right. There's a couple different ways of how appreciation can happen. Right. So we're talking about appreciation, maybe through sweat equity, right? Where you're upgrading the property, remodeling and things like that. An area that's being quote unquote gentrified, right? Being gentrified. The community the community is getting built up over time. Maybe dilapidated properties that are falling apart. An investor buys them and fixes them up. Other ways are going to be adding on to the property. So maybe if you're a 3-bedroom, 1-bath right now, right, there might be the ability to add another bathroom, and that value is going to jump up. In some communities, it can be drastic in the jump, right? Same thing with a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and bring that maybe to a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I mean, things like that can drastically change the value of your property. Now, there is going to be a point of diminishing returns, right? If, let's say, you're a 3-bedroom, but you want to add 2 more bedrooms to a 5-bedroom, you're probably not going to get the same return on adding those 2 other bedrooms compared to adding one from a 2 to a 3. So things to think about when you're looking to appreciate. But if you're solely reliant on the market to do it, the market's going to go up, the market's going to go down. So be careful to make assumptions based off of that. Is it safety of investment? Is it the location of the property, stability of the rents monthly, long-term tenants versus short-term tenants, the need and maintenance of the property, type of tenants, college, business, people, families. I mean, there's so many different kind of tenants out there that you have to really figure out what's going to be the most beneficial for you, right? It also goes into long-term, short-term, right? So maybe if you're by a college area and you rent there, you might have more college students, right, renting at that property, and they might only be there for 6 months, shorter time frames, or sublease the rooms, things like that. So just be aware of what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, every sort of renter is different. And if you think back of the time when you were a renter, how were you as a renter? And also, it's like when you start going into this, like Vinny was mentioning, it's different to rent to college kids versus executives versus military families versus just a family, let's say, with 1 person, or a family with, let's say, 2 dogs. Everyone's different. And the property is really going to make a big deal of what is the rentability of it. And does it call to people to rent there and live there? And we'll go into more things that make it more desirable in a couple other slides. So you thought about the properties. Now you know, what do you want to do? A single family residence, a 2-unit place, or 3 to 4 units? Each one of them is different. If you think about it, the single family only has 1 source of cash flow. 1 stream comes in, that's it. If that renter leaves, can you afford the monthly payment, as Vinny always says? Can you do that? If you look at the duplexes, you now have 2 sources of income coming in. 2, that's better than 1. Because if 1 person leaves, you still have cash from the other side coming in. Now with the 2 units, there's more maintenance. There's additional issues to deal with, but yet it's more stable because there's 2 sources of income. Then look at 3 to 4 units. Now you've really stepped up your game and gone, wow, I got 3 to 4 units. That's 3 to 4 tenants. Could be 2 people per unit. Now you're looking at 8 people you're taking care of. A lot more maintenance, a lot more issues, but 4 streams of cash flow. So the reason why we're doing this game, once again, that me and Vinny went over, it's either the appreciation, it's the cash flow, looking at that, and partly tax savings. You got to figure out what's most important to you, because one of these properties will definitely be better for you.
Now, each one of these properties come with different upsides and downsides, just like, I mean, David's already kind of talked about. I mean, again, more tenants can be more problems unless you get, good tenants. And you're going to be paying. So there's a cap. There's a baseline for most renters, right? And the lower you go down in price point, the more individuals that can rent at that pricing, right? So if you're separating from 1 unit and the same property price to maybe a 3 to 4 unit, that price point, the cash return on it can be a little bit higher based off of more renters in that sector. I don't know if that makes sense, but it kind of at least gives you an idea of what's kind of possible. Is there a wrong property to start with? Of course there is. Remember your goals here in your financial situation. Can you afford to lose a renter? Do you have reserves for things to go wrong? Because they will. can you bootstrap and do work yourself?
Ooh, I love that one.
Yes. Well, why don't you walk people through the bootstrap? I know you love that word.
So let's look at this. So can you bring that slide back, Vinny?
Yeah.
So you look at it, things are going to go wrong. You're buying a property. It's not going to be perfect. If you buy a perfect property, it came at a higher price. Realize that. So if you buy a property that needs more fixing up and you want to bootstrap, which means get out your own set of tools, get out the spackle, get out the Sawzall, fix the property up, comes with a different set of problems. So something to think about is, can you do that? Or do you need to hire someone to do all that work? A lot of guys in particular, we think we can fix everything. Oh, I can fix the electrical. Oh, I can fix the plumbing. Maybe, maybe not. It comes at a price. So just remember how important that is to you. Can you do the work yourself? Some of it you should, because you save more money. The other thing is, do you have patience to work with people? Renters are people, which means there will be problems and personality clashes. You have to be good with working with people. So you put all these things together. It's like, now can you bootstrap? Can you work with people? And then how's your cash flow? The appreciation, equity in the property. You got your tax advantages and basically the write-offs of the mortgages. So these are all things pulled together to help you make a better investment choice. Oh, this is such a good one.
Yes, let's look at some ways to prevent you from choosing the wrong property. Knowing your neighborhoods. Know the area you're buying in. What's the average income? What is the average rent paid? What is the crime rate?
Ooh.
What is the rate of appreciation? All right, now an average rent or turnover. Now, a couple of these platforms you can look at for yourself, like crimespot.org spotcrime.org. So you can look at that platform, rentometer.com. If you're looking for renter turnover, and there's other platforms to look at. There's a lot of platforms out there to give you better insight into the community. So if you have questions about those different platforms, feel free to reach out to myself or David, and we can kind of walk you through that. And then knowing the property. Now, this is really going to go into, especially buying in San Diego, is you're going to find this stuff during your due diligence period. Okay, so what's the age of the property? There's the year built, and then there's the effective year built. So be aware that sometimes you'll see a property that it seems like partially it was built in the 20s, but it says it was built in the 80s. That might be the effective year built. So they could have added on enough of the property to change the new year kind of built on it.
That's an interesting term.
What?
That's interesting right there, what you just brought up. That's we haven't touched on that before. That's good stuff. The age of the property, because you're right. Like North Park, there's a lot of 1920s, 1930s houses there. I mean, geez, you want to buy a house from 1930 and then look at it?
Well, I mean, people get tricked by it because they see the year built on there and they assume that, okay, this house was built in the 70s. Yeah, because that's what they posted on there and it's just was entitled. But then you look deeper on it, it's effective year built. So the original build was built something else, but they did enough of upgrade to the property or remodel to the property that they could technically change the date on it. So people get confused sometimes there. Piping, electrical, roof. So this is going to be during the due diligence period. You're going to get an inspection of the property, have some maybe scope the piping, the electrical, check the electrical, and check the roof. Understand what's going to come about just so you can kind of plan for it. I mean, if you're buying a condo, I mean, that's what condos do with the HOAs. They're assessing what life they have left on the different items, and they're slowly putting money away every month, right, with the HOA fees to plan for those issues to come about. So do it the same way yourself. Plan for those issues to come about. So when you're ready for it, you're better served. And then also make sure you get a good insurance policy and maybe a good home warranty policy. Is it permitted or non-permitted? Now, there's gonna be a lot of communities out there where it's not permitted, and you'll see your neighbors and everyone else not permitted. But be aware of that. I mean, the wrong person can call up and say it's not permitted, and now you have to get blueprints and get that taken care of and kind of push from there. So understand, is it permitted, not permitted? And there's a lot of properties again that have areas that are non-permitted. and they've been there like they're been there for a while. So just be aware when you're looking at properties.
And that's crucial for those of you who you talk to your agent and they are like, I'm in the top 20% of all agents. Well, if they don't know the difference of permitted versus non-permitted work, there's a huge difference in value. Not all the time, but oh, there you go. Boom. So for those of you who don't know, if your agent doesn't understand the value of this, that's a problem. The other thing is just accessibility to parking. If you think about it, like think about the homes in North Park, South Park, certain areas of Pacific Beach. You can't park your car. Your renter comes home, they can't park. That frustrates them. When it frustrates them, not good. It also makes people go, why do I want to pay $2,000 for this rental when I can't even park my damn car? Parking is key. Think about parking when you're buying an investment property. And then the other thing, zoning. What is the property zone? If you're working with a realtor that's in the top 20%, they may not know this either. And that is the property zone, let's say single family, or is it zoned R3 and you bought a 2-unit place, which means it's already zoned to add a 3rd unit, which is a lot of value. Understanding zoning is huge. So think about that. And then average cost per square foot. Make sure you can do the math. Make sure you know the difference, like the cost per square foot in South Park versus the cost per square foot in Lemon Grove versus the cost per square foot in Del Mar. Think about that. And then what improvements? How can you bootstrap? Boom. How can you improve the property? Can you put washer and dryer in there? Could you put a washer and dryer in there that charges coins and makes money from that? I know people that do that. It probably pisses your tenant off. If you put washer and dryer in your unit and then make them charge money to pay for it, probably not a good idea. But how else can you improve the property? Gray water systems, maintenance, making it better for the tenant. That is so crucial. You want them happy so they don't destroy your house.
Learn about mortgages, and great CPAs can help you with tax benefits. Duplexes will have higher rates for loans, single family. When you buy as an investor, down payment is usually 25%. It can be less based off of how you're classifying it. Maybe you put it as a vacation property. Talk to your lender, and if they can think outside the box, they can help you out. 3 to 4 unit properties will have higher rates than 2 units. More equity in the property means lower rates. Great CPA can help you with maximize your tax benefits. CPAs will help you maybe with a 1031 exchange, okay, where you're rolling over your tax capital gains to a new property. Okay, great CPAs can help you avoid recapture taxes, and then make friends with an honest contractor. Right? If you get the wrong contractor or you can't do it yourself, you'll be surprised of how quick that bill can start rising. So be aware of that. And then some formulas to help you with your return on investment. You want to take this, Dave?
Yeah, I like this one right here. So you look at it and you go, well, wow, we did all of our homework and we did all these different things. How can we really look at it and go, what's the return on investment? What do we look at? So these are 3 simple formulas that you want to look at. So cash on cash return. This is your annual cash flow divided by your initial cash investment. So for example, 700,000. That's pretty reasonable price in San Diego. It's right up there along with the market. And you look at it and go, oh, down payment, 175,000. How much cash flow do we get from it? So now we look at the annual rents. Let's say we make $3,500 in rent times 12, 42,000 divided by your down payment, 175K. That's a 24% return on your money, which is massive. Now, I know Vinnie doesn't like that one because I'm a little overly optimistic. And yes, that is a hard one to find, but it does look good. Next, we have our net operating income. Net operating income is actually a really good one to look at too, because as Vinny's talking about, if you don't know the monthly payment and you can't make it, this is going to be a problem for you. So let's look at this one. Net operating income. Look at annual income less annual expenses. equals your net operating income. So example, you brought in $42,000 worth of rental income, but yet it cost you $12,000 a year to operate this property. That means you're effectively making $30,000 in rental income. Now, can you pay your mortgage with this? So 30,000 divided by 12 is 2,500. What is your mortgage payment? If your mortgage payment is $24.99, this is a good deal for you because the mortgage can be serviced even with your expenses. This makes it a safer investment for you. And then finally, the payback period. So, you know, this one here in San Diego, this is a rough one because sometimes the payback period is very long. So let's look at it's the initial cash investment divided by the annual cash flow. So if you put down 175,000 and you made back 42,000 a year in rents, payback time is 4.17 years. That's when you get all your money back for what you put down. So it's buying investments here in San Diego. It's a long-term game. It's not that you're going to buy for 2 to 5 years. It's at least a 10-year hold. So keep that in mind when you're buying here. It's a long-term game, and building wealth is a long-term game. You're not going to get rich overnight with investment properties. Unfortunately, it's a cash flow game or the appreciation game, but you have to be patient and you have to take the right steps and do all these precautions we're going over to make sure these work. And these formulas will really help you out with that.
All right. So what else should you do to? And if you need these formulas, feel free to reach out to myself or David. We can give you these formulas that we just showed over. So what else should you do to protect yourself? Learn California renters law. Only hire a qualified realtor and a highly qualified lender. Property manager, do you need one? Learn the cost. Cost can vary. I mean, 6% to 8%. I mean, sometimes they might be outliers even higher than that. So just be aware of that. Plan on things going wrong because they will. And great insurance is better than cheap insurance. Realize you're playing the long game to create wealth. Be prepared to take some risks. Because cash is king. You'll need to operate and ensure you can sleep at night. Buy rental units, live in one for a while, fix it up. Always look for ways to increase the value. Equals increase rents. Always look for ways to decrease costs, but never screw your tenants. And that's a huge thing. Something to think about is, I mean, for the last one right there, is be aware that if you're pushing that threshold and you're maybe skimping on taking repairs, it costs more money to have a vacant property for a month than it does maybe doing a little better for the tenants you currently have in place. So be aware of that when you're dealing with your tenants and making your decisions with them.
That's huge. I mean, you can't say enough about things going wrong and being able to work with the right people and being patient, because guess what? The water heater is going to break at 9 o'clock at night and that tenant's going to call you. And if you're not nice to them, that's not going to go over well. You got to remember you're working with people here, and people and families in rentals, you need to be very respectful.
Yeah, and they can ruin your stuff. Now that you have basis, go look at properties, hire a great agent and a great lender, know the areas, look at rents, look at improvements, use the formulas, know your goals, and build that wealth.
Boom. That's a house made of money.
That's a house, and we're gonna get you home. So be aware of that. There's my information and David's information. If you have any questions about anything you've seen here, please reach out to myself or David. Follow us, subscribe. Again, we'd love to be that resource for you if you're looking to buy today, next week, a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, whatever it might be. We're not leaving the business anytime soon.
Nope, we are not. And Vinnie is not in the top 20% for the record. Pull that back up, Vinnie. Let's just show that really quick. I want to give you some props. Vinnie is not in the top 20%. Okay? Vinnie is high up the food chain. You want to hire somebody who's good, knows what they're doing? Hire somebody like Vinnie. Look at the sales. You want to hire an agent that's actually doing business.
So when he says I'm not in the top 20%, I'm technically am in the top 20%. I'm in probably the top, 3% or 2%.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
You are high up the food chain.
How you're saying it, I'm like, God damn, man, you're Anyways, thank you guys for joining us, and please subscribe, please share, and tell your friends. Thanks, everyone.
Have a great day.